In this episode, we break down an article and it's called 10 Secrets Outlaw Motorcycle Clubs Don't Want You to Know About Them. Is it real? Is it fake? You never know with these people, but we get into it on this episode of Demons Row TV. And oh yeah, we ghosting, baby. Big shout to the ghosts and the ghost sets. Welcome to Demons Row TV, the holy grail of MC culture, where we cover everything motorcycle and motorcycle club involved. I'm Sos the Ghost. I'm your host for the evening. And real quick, I hate to start the new year off like this, but I got to give a quick RIP to Lefty, 1%er of the Pagans MC. My condolences to everybody, the family, to the Pagans. I don't want to talk about what happened exactly. Everybody else is going to be talking about it all over the news, but let's talk about it. 10 secrets Outlaw Motorcycle Clubs Don't Want You to Know About Them. And we're reading this article off AmericanLegionRiders.com. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to learn about this MC culture. Let's get into it. Outlaw motorcycle clubs are bad to the bone. They're known for their rebellious attitudes, love of motorcycles, and disdain for law enforcement. But what do they really get up to when no one is looking? Many people idolize and revere these wild-spirited riders, but to the law enforcers, outlaw motorcycle clubs are just another source of headache and pain. Number 1, outlaw motorcycle clubs take advantage of the law. You would think that outlaw MCs are a bunch of doohickey groups without knowledge about the existing laws, but this assumption is quickly thrown out of the water when you discover the sophisticated organization that protects them legally. For instance, the famous outlaw club, Hell's Angels, once sued Disney for copyright infringement over the use of their name in the movie Wild Hogs. They won and went to sue Saks, Amazon, and even Marvel. So next time you want to take advantage of them, be prepared to face off in courts, and they will probably win and you will lose. So I would disagree a little bit with the fact that it's a secret, but everything said here is true. They have sued and got big bread off of companies like Disney. I remember they had something with Chris Brown. They sued Jeezy over something, or had it a cease and desist, had it taken down because he had some clothing that was like an exact copy of their, their whole getup. Number 2, they obviously engage in some criminal activity. Rather sad is that outlaw motorcycle clubs are often caught on the wrong side of the law. They dispel the myth of being free-riding brothers, taking on the road in a carefree manner, not just as pastime activity, but for prime profits and serious money-making. Another big business where you're likely to find them is arms and ammunition, of which most operate without a government license. So I disagree with this. Are there members that hustle and get money that way? 100%. But as organizations, there's no crime faction. It's not like the mafia where you all sit down at the table and nationally you have a distribution network. And I feel like that's the narrative that the ATF tries to push. And there's nobody in the media that actually ever brings that up or disputes it. Number 3, you don't cross their territory. Outlaw motorcycle clubs are very territorial, and often fierce battles emerge between opposing groups. No two outlaws can occupy the same city territory, and often they will fight over key cities and states for ultimate control. You would want to stay away from these blood-gushing fights that often end with multiple casualties. It's the reason why you see their bottom rocket patch, which states the territory or state they belong to. The territory is their business. So this is definitely true. We all know about the territory issues, and that's why we push on Demons Row TV. Have your patches right. Don't be wearing territories and stuff like that, because it does go down over claiming the territory, and I don't want people getting caught up in that. Number 4, women are mere property. The 1%ers are notorious for viewing their female counterparts as mere property belonging to an existing member. Women in the club barely have rights and are often second fiddle to the male members. In fact, a married woman belonging to an MC has little better standing than a girlfriend. All are viewed the same. Many outlaw motorcycle clubs are actively engaged in advocating for women's rights, even donating money to the causes. Despite their positive gesture, women are still property. So when they say that women don't have any rights, it's not that they don't have rights. They're not a member of the club. They have no say-so in club business because they're not a member of the club. So you could look at it any way. Like if you're an NFL player, they're not letting your wife come into private meetings. Like if they say it's a private meeting, team only, they're not letting people's wives come in there and know all the business of their game plan or whatever. So it's the same deal. But MCs, we get painted in a negative light just for doing this. A property of is the wedding ring of MC culture. It means stay away from this woman. Number 5, do you see the numbered patches? You will notice various numbered patches on vests and jackets and wonder what they mean to MCs. Well, it turns out the numbered patches are codes with exclusive meaning. For example, number 18 on the patch, especially designated code for the most famous outlaw motorcycle club, the Hells Angels, cannot be used by any other motorcycle club. Meanwhile, number 13 represents a more sinister occupation for the biker wearing it. It could mean that that biker is fond of illegal substances and either uses or distributes them. So they messed up with this one. It was probably a typo or something, but they said 18 and it's 81. And no one wears the 81 because they represent that. And that is the truth. But their support clubs wear 81 support, so that's not technically true. And the 13 does not represent sinister. It has a lot of different meanings in clubs. It could mean you're part of Mother Charter. It could mean so many different things. Number 6, they are polar opposites with law enforcement and considered a threat. So far, it should be no secret that outlaw MCs and law enforcement do not see eye to eye. Reason being that many outlaw motorcycle club members engage in illegal activities that put them on law enforcement's radar. This is obviously not the case if you decide to fall for the popular image and romanticism of MCs painted by Hollywood films. The bottom line is, 1%ers are fond of breaking the rules and finding themselves in trouble with law departments. As a result, they are considered a threat to society and are classified according to their threat level. To me, the reason why law enforcement views outlaw motorcycle clubs as a threat is because of the physical stature. It's a lot of big men, strong men that don't answer to anybody. And that's the worst nightmare of an oppressor. You don't want a whole bunch of big, strong guys all together on the same page, organized, a lot of military backgrounds. It's obvious why they don't like MCs, because MCs are not young boys in a gang. It's an older grown man's game. Number 7, there's a difference between patches and colors. Different patches and colors can have various meanings for things that members of an MC stand for. A biker jacket usually has different patches carrying different meanings or beliefs that bikers hold dear. The top patch on the jacket's back is the motorcycle club's name, in the middle is the logo, and the bottom rocker is the Territory, which belongs to the Outlaw Club. So that's definitely true right there. Number 8, their preferred ride is Harley Davidson. Outlaw MCs like to keep it all American with their style, more so when it comes to their ride. The Harley Davidson motorcycle is their go-to ride without exception. For them, foreign-made motorcycles, which often referred to as Jap scraps, barely make it to their standards or level of pride. They sure are patriotic and keeping it all American, despite not seeing eye to eye with law enforcement. In some cases, some outlaw clubs require that motorcycles have a particular engine displacement for you to join. So the part about the engine is true. It always has to be over 1300cc. Clubs are different. Some clubs will allow some stuff, but most outlaws, it's standard to be 1300 or above. When it comes to the Japanese bikes, people have to understand the time periods of when MC started. You got people coming from war. Pearl Harbor gets hit by Japan. It's not just a, I like this bike better than that bike. This is a pride in your country thing. It's a way deeper story for the founders of the culture. People nowadays don't care because they don't think about what happened in the 40s and the 50s. But people that were around, this was real to them. Number 9, the origin of the 1%er name. The 1%er badge has become an accepted emblem of honor and pride in the outlaw community. However, the name has controversial origins dating back to 1947. During a motorcycle rally called by the American Motorcycle Association, the AMA, about 4,000 attendees rioted the event. This led to the releasing of a statement by the AMA denouncing the 4,000 and saying that 99% of motorcycle clubs are law-abiding while 1% are outlaws. Since then, the outlaw clubs took up the 1%er badge with pride, which they continue to identify with even today. So this is true. This is definitely facts right here. Number 10, not all outlaw motorcycle clubs are famous or big enough. If you plan on belonging to one of these exclusive clubs or their products, it better be a famous one. However, not all outlaw MCs can boast of the might and the power of some big clubs like the Hells Angels, Pagans, Sons of Silence, Banditos, and the Outlaws. The smaller clubs are often overshadowed by their bigger brothers or even obliterated by law enforcement because they simply lack the capacity to put up a fight. So this is one of the most truest statements that I heard in a lot of articles. A lot of people think that when they think of one percenters, they think it's just like 5 or 6 clubs, and it depends on what region you in. There could be a club that runs the show just in your state and nowhere else. So I know a lot of people romanticize the clubs that we all know, but that's why on the show I try to feature a lot more clubs to open people's eyes, because you could think to yourself, if it's not the Hells Angels or the Pagans or something like that, that you're good and it won't be an issue. You got to be on point for any kind of situation from any club, because there's outlaw clubs that don't even wear a diamond patch that run the whole town depending on where you go. Hit the like button if you're getting value out of this, and hit the subscribe button if you want to learn more about MC culture. I got a new challenge coin out right now. These things are going so fast. I'm excited about these. They look so amazing. Check that out. You can get those now at www.demonsroad.com. Got another video where I talk about outlaw motorcycle clubs, the Sons of Silence. It'll be linked above. And thank you for tuning in to Demons Road TV, the holy grail of MC culture. Like, subscribe, and comment. And oh yeah, we ghosting, baby.